Okay, and welcome back to Archicad Basic Training. And in this lesson, we're going to continue to discuss the section marker and the section marker tool. And let's dive in. So let's go back to the settings a little bit more. So these are the range of the section settings. You can have an infinite distance horizontally, which is this direction, or you can have a limited distance so that it cuts and then it shows certain things at a certain pin weight for this distance that this box is. And then everything beyond that can either be shown at a different pin weight, or it could be hidden, or it could be, there's a range of possibilities of how things can be visualized, adjusting just these things here. And then when you do that, like if you do a limited, you can do you can adjust what the uncut elements look like and how they react to that distance setting. And with that, let's see, those are kind of the general settings. And then you have a vertical range that you can adjust. And so you have the ability to adjust where the marker head ends. So if I do this, one of the heads will disappear and there will only be one head left. I can have a segmented line so that I have a line at the head. I have a head, two heads, and a kind of a middle body. I can adjust what that line looks like if I want it to be dashed or a crazy stone thing. I can adjust what that middle line is looking like. I can also adjust what the pin of that line, going from across between the different heads looks like. I can put the head in the middle. I can actually change what that head looks like. I can create my own custom section head and import it and place it there, and it will give me a different section marker. So it's fully customizable, but very rarely do I see anyone who's created their own custom section marker. But you can do that. So if there's a certain graphical representation that you're looking for, you can do that. You can adjust the text here. You can adjust what you see in the top text and the bottom text. So you can add, I want it to show this reference ID, which is coming from up here. And I also want to adjust, other things, like if I wanted it to not show the drawing ID. What if or if I wanted to show the name, which is also coming up from the general settings. And then you can also do that with the lower text box. You can also adjust what the fill background is. So a lot of options there. Then you can adjust what that object actually looks like and what pins are associated with it. This here is actually a duplicate of information that's found in this marker section. It's just represented graphically a little bit different. And then this is kind of the one place that I find myself adjusting more often than not, because I can, within this section, I can adjust the drawings so they look significantly different just based on these adjustments. So you can, adjust what the elements that are uncut will look like in your section. And then you can also adjust if they have a uniform pin cut, so everything looks the same that's not cut within your section. You can have transparencies, you can have shadows that are either you can have shadows that are associated with your actual location and daylight time, and you can also have it so that it's generic. So here it's saying it's going to be the same as the 3D window, but if I have it custom, it means that everything's going to be at 45 degrees, the azimuth. You can show the distance where it's actually being, the distance area, so where it's being cut. And then you can have things show up differently that aren't being cut, that aren't within this distance range here. So those can also look significantly different as well. So you could have photo or kind of vectoral hatching in the background, or you can have it in the foreground, but then you could also not show it in one of these two different elements here. And then here you can adjust what the story elevation settings. So right now we have it on display and output. So you have this symbol that tells you the height of the different stories, and you can adjust how that looks. It's automatic. It's based on your story settings. You can't adjust it physically per se, but you can have it on display and output. You can have it on display, or you could have none. And again, you can adjust the side, what the length of it offsetting from the boundary, and you can adjust what it looks like. And finally, you can have different, so you can show your grids, or you can, and then you can adjust what grids show up. You can adjust what they look like. You can give them automatic dimensions. You can stagger them. You can show only certain ones, or you can not show it at all. And the section marker, and these are the layer settings that are associated with it. So very robust tool. You will be using it a lot. There's a lot to learn with it, so I recommend playing around with it and getting a better idea of what its settings are and how dynamic it can be, because it's a very powerful tool. And then once you have kind of customized it based on exactly what you want it to be, I recommend clicking on this favorite buttons, and then clicking this little plus button, and then saying, creating your section marker. And I recommend doing this for all of your tools and all your elements, because once you get to a comfortable place with your drawings, then you kind of want to have these settings already established, so that when you start a new project, you can transfer those settings and run flat out right when you start the drawing. All right, that's sections. Join me for the next lesson, and I'll see you then.